On Storytime Audio, we dive into the gripping tale of The Betrayal, a tale of a cheating fiancé and the quest for true love. This emotional journey follows Jake, a man who thought he had found his forever in Emma, only to uncover a devastating secret. Join us as we explore Jake's path to heartbreak, resilience, and the discovery of what true love really means. Tune in for a story that will capture your heart and keep you on the edge of your seat. Jake stood by the window of his small, cozy apartment, staring at the engagement ring in his hand. The early morning sun cast a warm glow over the city, and the ring sparkled brilliantly in the light. He couldn't believe Emma had proposed to him. It felt like a dream come true. Emma had always been the adventurous one in their relationship. Her spontaneity and zest for life were among the things Jake loved most about her. The night she proposed had been no different. They had gone out for dinner at their favorite Italian restaurant. Emma, with her bright smile and twinkling eyes, had seemed unusually excited. "Jake," she had said after they finished their tiramisu, "I've got something for you." She reached into her purse and pulled out a small velvet box. Jake's heart raced as she opened it to reveal a stunning engagement ring. "Will you marry me?" she asked, her voice filled with hope and love. Jake was overwhelmed with emotion. He had always imagined being the one to propose, but Emma had turned the tables on him in the most delightful way. He had said yes, of course, and they had spent the rest of the evening celebrating their future together. Now, standing in the soft morning light, Jake felt a mix of joy and apprehension. He loved Emma deeply, but the suddenness of her proposal left him with an uneasy feeling he couldn't quite shake. He pushed those thoughts aside, reminding himself that they had been together for 3 years and had weathered many storms. As he prepared breakfast, his phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. It was a message from his best friend, Sam. "Hey man, congrats on the engagement. Can't wait to hear all about it." Jake smiled and quickly typed a reply, "Thanks, Sam. Let's catch up later this week." Sam had been Jake's confidant since college. They had shared countless beers and conversations about life, love, and everything in between. Sam had always been skeptical of Emma, though. He thought she was too controlling, too manipulative. Jake had always brushed off his concerns, but now, with the ring on his finger, those doubts crept back into his mind. Emma walked into the kitchen, her hair still tousled from sleep. She wrapped her arms around Jake's waist and kissed his cheek. "Morning, fiancé," she murmured. Jake turned and kissed her softly on the lips. "Morning, fiancé." They ate breakfast together, chatting about their plans for the weekend. Emma suggested a hike in the mountains, one of their favorite activities. Jake agreed, eager to spend some quality time with her. After breakfast, Emma left for work. She worked at a marketing firm downtown and often had long, demanding hours. Jake was a freelance graphic designer, which gave him more flexibility. He spent the morning working on a project for a new client, but his mind kept drifting back to Emma's proposal and the niggling doubts that wouldn't go away. Later that afternoon, Jake decided to clean up the apartment. He and Emma had talked about moving in together officially now that they were engaged, and he wanted the place to look perfect. As he was tidying up, he noticed Emma's phone buzzing on the coffee table. She must have left it behind in her rush to get to work. Curiosity got the better of him, and he picked up the phone. He knew Emma's password. She had told him once when they were booking a trip together. Hesitantly, he unlocked the phone and opened her messages. What he saw made his heart stop. There were messages from a contact named Alex. The conversations were intimate, far too intimate for comfort. Jake's hands shook as he scrolled through the messages, his worst fears confirmed. Emma had been seeing Alex behind his back. The most recent message was from 2 weeks ago, just before she had proposed. Jake felt a wave of nausea wash over him. How could she do this to him? And why had she proposed if she was involved with someone else? He felt betrayed, confused, and utterly devastated. He put the phone down and sank onto the couch, burying his face in his hands. His mind raced with questions. Should he confront her? Should he tell Sam? What was he supposed to do now? As he sat there, trying to make sense of it all, his phone buzzed again. It was a message from Emma. "Hey babe, just realized I left my phone at home. Can you bring it to the office? Thanks, love you." Jake stared at the message, anger boiling inside him. How could she pretend everything was normal when she was hiding such a huge betrayal? He knew he had to do something, but he wasn't sure what. Taking a deep breath, Jake grabbed Emma's phone and headed out the door. He needed to see her, to confront her, and to get some answers. But most of all, he needed to know why she had done this to him. Jake drove through the bustling city streets, his mind racing as fast as the cars around him. The engagement ring on his finger felt like a heavy weight, a constant reminder of Emma's betrayal. He gripped the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles turning white. How could she do this to him? They had shared so much, planned a future together. Now, it all felt like a cruel joke. When he arrived at Emma's office building, Jake took a moment to steady himself. He had to keep his emotions in check if he wanted answers. With Emma's phone in his pocket, he walked into the sleek, modern lobby and approached the receptionist. "Hi, I'm here to see Emma Lawson. She left her phone at home," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. The receptionist smiled. "Sure, let me buzz her. You can take a seat over there." Jake nodded and sat in one of the plush chairs, his heart pounding in his chest. A few minutes later, Emma appeared, her usual confident stride faltering when she saw Jake. She forced a smile. "Hey, babe, thanks for bringing my phone," she said, reaching out for it. Jake handed her the phone but didn't let go immediately. "We need to talk, Emma. Now." Emma's eyes widened, and she glanced around nervously. "Jake, I'm at work. Can't this wait?" "No," Jake said firmly. "It can't." Seeing the determination in his eyes, Emma sighed and led him to a small conference room. Once inside, she closed the door and turned to face him, her expression guarded. "What's this about?" she asked. Jake took a deep breath, trying to control the anger boiling inside him. "I know about Alex, Emma. I know you slept with him 2 weeks before you proposed to me. I found your messages." Emma's face paled, and for a moment, she looked genuinely shocked. Then her expression hardened. "You went through my phone?" Jake couldn't believe her reaction. "That's what you're concerned about? You cheated on me, Emma. Why? Why would you propose to me if you were seeing someone else?" Emma took a step back, her eyes filling with tears. I don't know, Jake. I was confused. I love you, but I got scared. I didn't want to lose you." Jake shook his head in disbelief. "So, your solution was to cheat on me and then propose? How does that make any sense?" Emma wiped her eyes, trying to regain her composure. "I made a mistake, Jake. I was stupid, and I'm sorry. But I love you. I want to be with you." Jake's heart ached at her words, but he couldn't ignore the betrayal. "Love isn't supposed to feel like this, Emma. I trusted you, and you broke that trust." Emma reached out to touch his arm, but he pulled away. "Jake, please. We can work through this. I'll do anything to make it right." Jake looked into her eyes, searching for any sign of sincerity. "How can I believe you? How can I ever trust you again?" Emma's shoulders slumped, and she looked down at the floor. "I don't know, but I'm willing to try if you are." Jake felt a wave of exhaustion wash over him. He had loved Emma deeply, but now, that love felt tainted. "I need time, Emma. I need to figure out what I want." Emma nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I understand. Take all the time you need." Jake turned and left the conference room, his mind a whirlwind of emotions. As he walked out of the building, he felt a sense of relief mingled with heartbreak. He wasn't sure what the future held, but he knew he couldn't stay in a relationship built on lies. That evening, Jake met up with Sam at their favorite bar. Sam could tell something was wrong the moment Jake walked in. "Hey, man, what happened?" Sam asked, concern etched on his face. Jake sighed and sat down, running a hand through his hair. "Emma cheated on me. I found out today." Sam's eyes widened in shock. "No way. Are you serious?" Jake nodded, his voice bitter. "Yeah, she slept with some guy named Alex 2 weeks before she proposed to me." Sam shook his head in disbelief. "I knew she was bad news, but I didn't think she'd do something like this. What are you going to do?" Jake took a sip of his beer, trying to numb the pain. "I don't know. She wants to work things out, but I don't know if I can ever trust her again." Sam put a hand on Jake's shoulder. "You deserve better, man. Don't let her manipulate you into staying if it's not right for you." Jake appreciated Sam's support, but his mind was still a mess of conflicting emotions. "Thanks, Sam. I just need some time to think." They spent the rest of the evening talking and drinking, and for a few hours, Jake managed to push the pain aside. But when he returned home, the weight of Emma's betrayal settled back on his shoulders. As Jake lay in bed that night, he couldn't help but think about Megan. She had always been kind and supportive, and he had sensed a connection between them. But it wouldn't be fair to pursue anything with her while he was still dealing with the fallout from Emma's betrayal. Jake closed his eyes, trying to quiet his mind. He knew he had a long road ahead of him, but he was determined to find a way through it. He deserved to be happy, and he wouldn't let Emma's actions define his future. Jake woke up the next morning feeling a mix of exhaustion and determination. He knew he needed to make some decisions about his future, but first, he needed a clear head. He decided to go for a run, hoping the physical activity would help clear his mind. As he jogged through the quiet neighborhood, he thought about his conversation with Emma the previous day. Her tears and apologies had seemed sincere, but the trust between them had been shattered. Could it ever be rebuilt? And more importantly, did he want to try? When Jake returned home, he found a message from Megan on his phone. She had noticed he seemed off at work lately and wanted to check in on him. "Hey Jake, just wanted to see how you're doing. If you need someone to talk to, I'm here." Jake felt a warmth spread through him at Megan's kindness. She had always been supportive, and he appreciated her reaching out. He decided to take her up on her offer and replied, "Thanks, Megan. I'd really appreciate that. How about we grab coffee later?" Megan responded almost immediately, "Sounds good. Let's meet at the cafe near the office at 3? Jake agreed and spent the rest of the morning trying to focus on his work. By the time the afternoon rolled around, he was more than ready for a break. He headed to the cafe and found Megan waiting for him at a corner table. "Hey, Jake," Megan greeted him with a warm smile. "How are you holding up?" Jake sighed as he sat down, feeling a mixture of relief and anxiety. "It's been tough, Megan. I found out Emma cheated on me, and I'm not sure what to do." Megan's eyes widened in surprise and concern. "Oh, Jake, I'm so sorry. That's awful. Do you want to talk about it?" Jake nodded, and for the next hour, he poured his heart out to Megan. He told her about finding the messages, confronting Emma, and his struggle to decide what to do next. Megan listened patiently, offering words of comfort and understanding. "I can't imagine how hard this must be for you," Megan said softly. "But I think you're doing the right thing by taking some time to figure out what you want. Trust is essential in any relationship, and once it's broken, it's hard to rebuild." Jake appreciated Megan's perspective. She always seemed to know the right thing to say. "Thanks, Megan. I just feel so lost right now." Megan reached out and squeezed his hand. "You're not alone, Jake. You've got friends who care about you, and we'll be here to support you no matter what." Jake felt a surge of gratitude and warmth. "I really appreciate that, Megan. It means a lot." As they finished their coffee, Jake realized how much better he felt after talking to Megan. She had a way of making him see things more clearly and helping him find the strength he needed to move forward. Over the next few days, Jake continued to process his feelings. He spent time with Sam and Megan, who both provided invaluable support. He also decided to see a therapist to help him navigate his emotions and make sense of the betrayal he had experienced. One evening, after a particularly productive therapy session, Jake sat down to write a letter to Emma. He knew he needed to express his feelings and set some boundaries for himself, even if he wasn't ready to speak to her in person. "Dear Emma, I've been doing a lot of thinking since we last talked. Finding out about your infidelity was one of the hardest things I've ever experienced, and it's made me question everything about our relationship. I loved you deeply, and your betrayal has left me hurt and confused. I need time to heal and figure out what I want for my future. I hope you can respect my need for space during this time. I wish you the best and hope you find the help and support you need to address the issues that led to this situation. Sincerely, Jake." Jake felt a sense of closure as he finished the letter. He knew this was just the beginning of his healing journey, but it was a step in the right direction. He decided to drop the letter off at Emma's apartment the next day. When he arrived at her place, he took a deep breath and slipped the letter under her door. As he walked back to his car, he felt a weight lift off his shoulders. He was finally taking control of his life and making decisions that were best for him. In the following weeks, Jake focused on rebuilding his life. He threw himself into his work, finding solace in the creative projects that had always brought him joy. He also spent more time with Sam and Megan, who continued to support him through his healing process. One evening, as Jake and Megan were having dinner together, she looked at him with a curious expression. "Jake, have you ever thought about starting fresh somewhere new?" Jake was taken aback by the question. "What do you mean?" Megan smiled. I mean, maybe it's time for a change. A new city, a new job, a new beginning. It could be a chance to leave all this behind and start over. Jake considered her words. The idea of a fresh start was appealing, but it also felt daunting. I don't know, Megan. It sounds nice, but it's a big step. Megan nodded. I get that. But sometimes, big steps are exactly what we need to move forward. Just think about it, okay? Jake promised he would, and over the next few days, the idea began to take root in his mind. He started researching job opportunities in different cities and imagining what his life could be like away from the painful memories of his past. One night, as he lay in bed, Jake made a decision. He was ready for a new beginning. He called Megan the next morning and shared his decision with her. I'm going to do it, Megan. I'm going to start fresh somewhere new. Megan's excitement was palpable. That's amazing, Jake. I'm so proud of you. Where are you thinking of going? Jake smiled, feeling a sense of hope and excitement he hadn't felt in a long time. I think I'll start with Seattle. It's a city I've always wanted to explore. Megan grinned. Seattle sounds perfect. I know you're going to love it. With Megan's encouragement, Jake began making plans for his move. He updated his resume, applied for jobs, and started looking for apartments in Seattle. It was a whirlwind of activity, but it felt good to be moving forward. As the day of his move approached, Jake felt a mixture of nerves and excitement. He said his goodbyes to Sam and Megan, promising to stay in touch and visit often. They threw him a farewell party, celebrating his courage and new beginning. On his last night in town, Jake stood in his empty apartment, reflecting on the journey that had brought him to this point. He had faced heartbreak and betrayal, but he had also found strength, support, and the courage to start over. As he drove out of the city the next morning, Jake felt a sense of freedom and possibility. He didn't know what the future held, but he was ready to embrace it with an open heart and a hopeful spirit. The drive to Seattle was long but gave Jake plenty of time to reflect on his journey. As the miles passed, he felt the weight of his past slowly lifting. By the time he reached the city, he was ready for a fresh start. Seattle greeted him with its characteristic drizzle, the kind that felt more like a mist than rain. Jake found it refreshing and symbolic of his new beginning. He had arranged to stay in a small, furnished apartment in Capitol Hill, a vibrant neighborhood known for its arts and culture. As he unpacked his belongings, he felt a sense of excitement for the first time in a long while. The first few days in Seattle were spent exploring the city. Jake wandered through Pike Place Market, visited the iconic Space Needle, and took leisurely strolls along the waterfront. The more he saw, the more he fell in love with his new home. Jake's job search had yielded several promising opportunities, and within a week, he secured a position as a graphic designer at a well-known marketing agency. The team was welcoming, and Jake quickly found his groove, diving into creative projects that reignited his passion for design. One evening, as Jake was walking home from work, he received a call from Megan. "Hey, Jake, how's Seattle treating you?" Jake smiled, glad to hear her voice. "It's amazing, Megan. I feel like I'm finally where I'm supposed to be." "I'm so happy to hear that," Megan said. "I miss you, but I know this move was the right thing for you. Have you made any new friends yet?" Jake thought for a moment. "Not really, but I'm getting there. I've been so focused on settling in and starting the new job." Megan chuckled. "Well, don't forget to take some time for yourself and meet new people. You deserve to have some fun too." Jake promised he would, and they talked for a while longer, catching up on the latest news from back home. After hanging up, Jake decided it was time to take Megan's advice. He needed to start building a new social circle. Over the next few weeks, Jake made an effort to get out and meet people. He joined a local gym, attended a few networking events, and even signed up for a cooking class. Slowly but surely, he began to make new friends. One evening, while attending an art exhibition downtown, Jake met a woman named Sarah. She was an artist with a keen eye for detail and a passion for life that reminded him of why he loved art in the first place. They struck up a conversation, and Jake found himself genuinely enjoying her company. "Your work is incredible," Jake said, admiring one of Sarah's paintings. "The way you capture emotion is truly inspiring." Sarah smiled, her eyes lighting up. "Thank you, Jake. That means a lot coming from someone in the creative field. What about you? What brings you to Seattle?" Jake hesitated for a moment, then decided to be honest. "I needed a fresh start. I went through a tough breakup and felt like it was time for a change." Sarah nodded sympathetically. I get that. Sometimes, a new environment is exactly what we need to heal and grow. They spent the rest of the evening talking, sharing stories, and laughing. By the end of the night, Jake felt a connection with Sarah that he hadn't felt with anyone since Emma. It was refreshing and gave him hope for the future. As weeks turned into months, Jake settled into his new life. He and Sarah became close friends, and he continued to build a supportive network around him. He found joy in his work, comfort in his new friendships, and a sense of peace that had eluded him for so long. One weekend, Sarah invited Jake to a hiking trip in the nearby mountains. As they reached the summit, they sat down to take in the breathtaking view. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the landscape. "This is beautiful," Jake said, feeling a sense of serenity wash over him. Sarah nodded. "It really is. I'm glad you came, Jake. You've come a long way since we first met." Jake smiled. "I have, haven't I? It's amazing what a fresh start can do." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, enjoying the moment. Then Sarah turned to him, her expression serious. "Jake, I know we've become close, and I value our friendship a lot. But I need to know if there's something more here. I don't want to complicate things if you're not ready." Jake looked into Sarah's eyes and saw the sincerity there. He realized that he had indeed developed feelings for her, feelings that went beyond friendship. But he also knew he needed to be honest with himself and with her. "Sarah, I care about you a lot," Jake began, choosing his words carefully. "You've been an amazing friend, and I do have feelings for you. But I'm still healing from my past, and I don't want to rush into anything and risk losing what we have." Sarah smiled softly. "I understand, Jake. I'm here for you, no matter what. We can take things slow and see where they go. No pressure." Jake felt a surge of relief and gratitude. "Thank you, Sarah. That means a lot to me." They continued their hike, enjoying the beauty of nature and the comfort of each other's company. As they made their way back down the mountain, Jake felt a renewed sense of hope and possibility. He was finally moving forward, one step at a time. Months passed, and Jake's life continued to flourish. He and Sarah grew closer, their bond deepening with each passing day. They took things slow, allowing their relationship to develop naturally. It wasn't always easy, but Jake felt confident that they were building something real and lasting. One evening, as Jake and Sarah sat on the balcony of his apartment, watching the city lights twinkle below, Jake felt a sense of contentment he hadn't felt in years. "Sarah, I want to thank you," Jake said, turning to her. "You've been a huge part of my healing process, and I don't know where I'd be without you." Sarah smiled, her eyes shining. "You've come so far, Jake. I'm proud of you." Jake took her hand, feeling a sense of peace and happiness that he hadn't thought possible. "I think I'm ready to move forward with you." Sarah squeezed his hand, her smile widening. "I'd like that, Jake. I'd like that a lot." As they sat together, the future stretching out before them, Jake knew that he had finally found the fresh start he needed. He had faced his past, found strength in his friendships, and opened his heart to new possibilities. Jake's journey taught him valuable lessons about love, trust, and self-worth. He learned that true love is built on honesty and mutual respect, and that it's essential to prioritize one's own happiness and well-being. He also discovered the importance of surrounding himself with supportive, caring people who uplift and encourage him. Jake's story is a testament to the power of resilience and the human capacity for growth and healing. No matter how difficult the journey, there is always hope for a brighter future. As Jake and Sarah looked out over the city, they knew that their journey together was just beginning. And with each other's support, they were ready to face whatever challenges and joys lay ahead. As the sun set over Seattle, casting a warm glow across the city, Jake and Sarah stood together on their balcony, hand in hand. The journey from betrayal to healing had been long and challenging, but Jake had emerged stronger and wiser. With Sarah by his side, he felt a renewed sense of hope and possibility. The Betrayal, a tale of a cheating fiancé and the quest for true love, is not just a story of heartache, but a testament to the power of resilience, friendship, and the courage to start anew. As Jake looked out over the city, he knew that his past no longer defined him. He was ready to embrace the future, confident in the love and trust he had found with Sarah. Together, they faced the world with open hearts, ready for whatever adventures lay ahead. Thank you for joining us on Storytime Audio. Remember, no matter how dark the journey may seem, there is always a path to a brighter tomorrow. Stay tuned for more stories of hope, love, and the human spirit.